Scanning. Identity authorized. Welcome to the Secret Superhero Club Podcast Network.
Welcome to the Animation Station Podcast, your home for discussions and debates about all things animation. Each week, we'll rank, review, and revel in animated shows from yesterday and today, and from around the world. So grab your Acme slingshot, set your mobile suit to autopilot, and put on your mouse ears. The Animation Station Podcast begins now.
Hi, everybody, and welcome to episode 15 of the Animation Station podcast. I'm one of your hosts, Gavin.
I'm the other host, Josh.
Woohoo! So, we have an amazing movie to talk about this week, a movie that is brand new to me, and I'm so excited to get into it, but we have a few other things to talk about first. So, Josh, how's your week going, man?
It's so weird.
So just keep it going. Keep it going.
Well, it was pretty good. Watched a cool anime movie. Been catching up on Avatar: The Last Airbender.
Oh yeah, nice,
yeah.
Nice.
Watched little psychic school wars that has hardly anything to do with psychics.
You showed me the trailer.
A lot to do with school and nothing to do with a war.
Yeah, you showed me the trailer and it looks very.
It's very bright.
High school dramatic and filled with bright colors and poppy music, and it looks pretty entertaining.
I was expecting it to be like Summer Wars,
oh, okay.
And we were going to have like massive battles and everything, but it's like, nope, straight love story, here you go. And I was like, man,
there you go.
Perfect.
It's almost like it should have been like Mind Games or something like that, but it translated to Psychic Wars.
Yeah, I don't know how to say the Japanese. It's like Neko Gonka or something.
Nekagonko. That's what we'll
cats,
call it from now.
But, you know.
Which one of those is cat?
Neko.
Oh, I didn't know that.
Yeah.
I don't know the Japanese.
Fun fact, Tai and Kari in Digimon, their cat was named Neko.
Oh, that is a fun fact, Josh.
Actually, I think his name was American, so I think it was Nico.
Oh, okay. But nice. Well, I've been watching a little bit of animation this week, too.
Like what?
As I'm finally making the concerted effort to go from A to Z and watch all of Gravity Falls.
About time.
Which I had only watched, I'd probably watched about 2/3 of the show in its entirety, but I never really did the sequential A to Z thing. So I'm doing that now. And we tend to watch like 1 or 2 episodes every night as we eat dinner. So we're getting through it at a pretty decent pace. But I wouldn't say that we're marathoning it as of yet. But, man, it's a good show. It's really fun. I love the color palette in it. I love the characters.
The jokes.
Both good and evil. The jokes are good.
Who have you met that's evil? Have you...
Well, certainly the Summerween trickster.
Oh, yeah.
And I guess he kind of becomes a sympathetic character in the end, but... you showed me Bill. I haven't actually gotten to the episode with him yet. I mean, in some ways, Gideon's evil. Pacifica, in her own way, is kind of evil. I mean, we're not talking like true evil. We're just talking about like good guys, bad guys.
Pacifica's just rich.
She's a snob.
And her dad's Nathan Fillion.
Is that who plays her dad?
Yes.
That's awesome. I love the Fillion. So yeah, that's what I've been up to. Haven't been up to much else besides, just hanging out with you tonight. And being at work forever.
Work.
Yeah. It's been a long week at work. So I've been looking forward to this night all week, and I'm glad we're watching movies, hanging out. It's awesome.
Yep. We have a little bit of news to talk about. The only real thing of him, we had the Beauty and the Beast picks.
Yeah, all those Beauty and the Beast picks was it from Entertainment Weekly? Yeah. Which, I don't know. I don't get all excited about still frames from movies before they come out. It doesn't really do much for me. I I think it's kind of neat to see, oh, okay, this is kind of what it's going to look like, but we kind of already knew that, and I'd rather have specific costumes and scenery revealed in the movie. So I tend to not look at that kind of stuff. I'm not a big trailer watcher, but I know a lot of people flipped out over it, and I'm excited for those people that get excited for those things.
Yeah. Did you have any opinions on the Beast?
Honestly, I did not look closely at the Beast, almost intentionally. So, because I'd rather just have it revealed to me in the movie.
Yeah. The only cool picture that I thought was when it's this one. It looks like it's in like the pub, and it's Gaston on the table.
Oh,
and he's
like
pointing, and it looks like they pulled it from Les Mis.
Yeah, it kind of looked to me
really
like
cool.
they pulled it from The Patriot. That's what it reminded me of.
Yeah, I can see that.
Yeah. But yeah, it didn't scream Beauty and the Beast to me, that picture. But, it's different than the animated film. And they're trying to make some things very different, and some things they're trying to make very similar.
I like Emma Watson's dress. It looked very, very Belle.
Was it the Bonjour? The blue
the Bonjour
dress?
one. Yeah.
Okay. Yeah, I did see that one.
I thought that was kind of nice.
That's pretty cool.
Her yellow
it's
dress
definitely
is just
a throwback.
It's yellow.
Yeah, it's definitely a throwback to the animated film. So, and that will actually tie into something we're going to talk about at the very end of this episode. So,
that's nice.
If you guys are Beauty and the Beast fans, stay tuned until the very end, and we got a big surprise. Anyway, what else you got for news?
Had a little bit of news coming out of Disney this week.
Woohoo!
Well, I mean, there was some, but animated wise, Big Hero 6. They finally released the majority of the cast for the animated series.
Yeah, I'm so excited about this idea. I think it'll make for a great series.
Apparently, it's set to premiere sometime in 2017. It's going to be on Disney XD.
Awesome.
Which XD is like Disney's
Extreme channel.
We can get away with more stuff.
Yeah.
Like Gravity Falls moved to XD. I think it premiered on the Disney Channel, but then they moved it to XD so that they could do some extra stuff.
Nice.
Like when that clip I sent you of Grunkle Stan saying, meet for the apocalypse because we're all gonna die.
Oh, right.
It's like, oh yeah, that's great. Yeah, and like everything in Star.
Mm-hmm.
That show's so like, what the heck?
Yeah, it's off the wall, and yeah, I can see why they would need kind of a separate channel to make some of their more edgy stuff.
It's kind of like their very, very young version of Cartoon Network.
Yeah,
because
sure.
of all the crazy garbage that's on Cartoon Network right now.
Yeah.
But yeah, so it's gonna premiere sometime in 2017.
Does that mean it comes out before or after the Tangled series premieres? When does that premiere? Do you know?
I think spring.
Is it?
I think
it's
it
so
was.
cool that both of them are getting a series.
But I mean, honestly, Big Hero
awesome.
6, I can see them waiting until
the fall.
No, probably summer.
Really?
Because they want to kick in with all of the Marvel movies that are releasing.
Oh, maybe.
So I can see them, maybe June, July. They premiere that. Probably August when all the new stuff rolls out. Probably pop it in August.
How many Marvel movies are there next year? There's just 2, right?
I think there's 3.
You got Guardians 2, and you got Ragnarok, and what else?
Maybe that's it. I don't know. I don't like Marvel, so I don't pay any attention to them.
We should ask Liam. Liam, tell us how many Marvel movies come out next year, because we don't know. Anyway,
he doesn't listen to this. Josh, tell us how many Marvel movies.
He does. You guys.
He's on there like 5 seconds after I post the episode. He's like, boom, already sent stuff.
Mm-hmm. All right, so we're ready to move it into whatever's next. What is next?
Next, we're going to be talking about
the movie
Patema Inverted.
Oh my gosh, Josh Kane! This movie blew my mind.
Right? Okay.
It's so good. Okay, I'm gonna let you talk about it a little bit.
I have a little bit of stuff.
Go crazy.
It's Patema Inverted was a 2013 Japanese film directed by. Oh boy.
You got it.
Yashihiro
you had it.
Yashihiro Yoshiura.
Yes!
There we go. It's from Purple Cow Studios Japan, which the only other thing that I saw that they've done was they did like a 3-part OVA for Yokozora Quartet, which you don't know anything
about. Is that a manga?
It's a manga that I read.
Okay.
Yeah.
Okay.
Wish they would.
So they haven't really done much feature animation.
No, this is like their only feature
Blows
animation.
me away because this was ridiculous. Okay, keep going.
It is distributed by G-Kids here in America, which
Cool.
they distributed Summer Wars, Cat in Paris, and Secret of Kells.
Is that how you became aware of this? Is because they're the same people that distributed Summer Wars?
Yeah, I think in my Summer Wars box set that I got, I mean, it came from Funimation,
Right.
but there was a little insert in there that had, like, Secret of Kells, like that little thing that I showed you, it had Secret of Kells, but it also had Patema Inverted. And I was like, I wonder what that is. So
always look at those inserts,
yeah,
kids.
So just like randomly, I went on Amazon and I think it was like $15. It was on sale, so it was like, $15. That was when I had money to throw around for random stuff. So it's like $15. That's not bad. Yeah. Bought it. It was like, oh my gosh, this movie
is a steal at twice the price.
I'm gonna go into the story just a little bit because I've seen this movie multiple times. And going into it the first time, you really have to give it another watch just to catch. There's little subtle things in the movie that you have to watch it again in order to pick these things up.
Right.
And it doesn't make it is hard to follow. There's a lot of information that's being thrown at you. I mean, there's definitely slow points in the movie, but they're constantly throwing info at you the whole entire time.
Yeah, the concept is continually unfolding as you watch. And if any of you guys just watch this for the first time, you'll know exactly what we're talking about. Because as soon as this movie ended, I said, Josh, explain this movie to me. I have to know. Because it's a mind bender. Okay, go ahead.
So we start, and the year was, what was it, 60-something?
Depending on the date,
years
I think it was
now.
51 years in the future, but at the time it would have been 54 years in the future.
There is some sort of event that happens, and it's explained later on that there is like a science experiment and something went horribly wrong.
An accident.
They were trying to harness the Earth's gravity for natural energy. And for whatever reason, something happened and it completely inverts gravity. For not everything, I would say, we'll just say, because it's not really said, 50%. We'll just say 50% of everything.
Yeah.
Gravity inverted. So buildings fly up into the sky, people fly up into the sky, presumably to death, pretty much.
Right.
Kind of went dark there. So we go and we meet one of our protagonists, Patema.
Right.
And she is a little girl who lives underneath, like kind of like in this abandoned, like looks like a nuclear silo.
Right. Yeah, it's very it looks like a refinery or some kind of factory, but it's all
sort of
underground. Yeah. It reminded me of, what's that city that's underground in the Matrix that they go to, in the second Matrix?
Oh god, are you kidding me?
What is it called? It kind of reminded me of that, where it's very industrial and they've kind of made it work for this civilization that they've built down there.
I don't remember.
I want to say it had like a biblical name or something, didn't it?
It's something.
Anyway, we'll think of it. Keep going.
So Patema goes out and she's this kind of, tomboy,
she's an explorer, yeah.
And one day she goes out and she runs into this bat person. And it's a person who's basically standing on the ceiling.
Creepy.
So she ends up falling over, and basically from her angle, she falls. So then we meet our second protagonist, AG. He's on the surface world.
And I don't think you mentioned it, but Patema is a girl.
Patema is a girl.
AG's a boy.
AG's a boy.
Yeah.
AG has blue eyes. Patema has red eyes.
Were they red? I saw them as purple.
Well, Patema's were they kind of like, depending on the light.
Okay.
Like
kind of like a magenta.
And sometimes
like
AG's were
maroon.
like almost purple.
Okay.
So we have AG. He's on the surface world. And he's kind of like laying out by this fence where there's this big, huge crater, and he sees this backpack that's like floating on the fence.
Yeah, he's on the perimeter of call it the danger zone?
Yeah, the danger zone.
Yeah, right?
So
okay, that sounded a little too Top Gun to sound right, but yeah, that's what they call it.
The forbidden zone. Yeah, the danger zone.
What's that dark, shadowy place over there? Oh,
we must never go there. It's an elephant graveyard.
Keep going.
Wow. So he sees this backpack, and then he sees this girl climbing up to get the backpack, and then she slips,
but not climbing up.
But not climbing up.
But she's upside down.
She's climbing up, but she's upside down.
Right.
And so she almost falls. And so this is how AG meets Patema.
Mm-hmm.
And the whole time in this movie, gravity is like one of the constant threats of the movie. Because for Patema, she can fall up, basically shoot up into the sky from AG's perspective, and she's just gone.
Mm-hmm.
And then, we go a little bit further on into the movie where it's reversed. Mm-hmm. So AG has to, hold on to Patema or else he's going to plummet to his death.
Yeah, and the cool thing that they do is when they travel to different areas, they literally flip the camera view. They flip the whole horizon 180, and your perspective gets shifted to either a ground view or a ceiling view. And it's amazing when they do that because it really bends your perception of the scene itself and helps you to see it through that other character's eyes, which they've been seeing it that way up to that point. And you flip and you're like, oh, this is what they're seeing right now. And it's amazing how different a scene can look flipped on its head. Mm-hmm. And they do such a good job with that.
And at the very end, AG does say that, imagine this from Patema's view.
Yeah,
it's like, imagine what she's seeing. She's upside down the whole entire time.
Right.
And we kind of see that a little bit because mainly we're on AG's point of view.
Yeah, you're led to believe that is the surface,
this is the correct way.
The correct right side up. Yeah, exactly.
But then at the very end of the movie, they give you that plot twist where Patema's people are actually right side up. Because there's basically this whole almost cult, like communist, like type world that has of Iga that has been created. Yeah. Basically saying the people that flew up into the sky were these like heathens, and they pissed God
Sinners.
off, and he plucked them out of the sky. So they think that all these inverted, like Patema's people, they call them inverteds, are these horrible, horrible. Are you wearing 3 shirts?
I do that in the fall, winter months.
It's like 90 degrees in here.
It is nice and cozy in here,
It's super hot. I'm sweating.
But where we work, they apparently store sides of beef out in the open, so they keep it at like 20 degrees Fahrenheit.
No, it's wonderful where we work.
It's terrible. I hate it. I freeze all day. So when I come over to your place and I wear 3 layers, I'm nice and cozy warm. So
I'm glad we
anyway,
don't
continue.
film this at your place because you kept it like a balmy 81 degrees.
I like warmth.
Where were we?
We were talking about...
Oh, yeah, the cult.
Perception.
So we think that Patema's people are these inverts the whole entire movie. But again, at the end, they flip that script on us.
Yeah, they do.
And AG's people are actually the people that live underground, that were forced underground due to this massive apocalypse. It's
such a mind blower. And there's this scene kind of in the middle of the movie where there's this really climactic, I found it very stressful event. And basically AG and Patema jump towards each other to save each other from this situation.
It's
basically
super cool. They've got that it's
jerk
slow-mo.
leader. Yeah.
It's really cool slow-mo.
It's like
grab each
Matrix
other.
or something. Yeah. And then as soon as they meet and hug, they rocket up from AG's perspective. They rocket up into the sky. From her perspective, she's falling straight down into a groundless, existence. And as they rise through the quote-unquote atmosphere, they start to see through the clouds the stars. And that whole world of AG could look up and see the stars. Well, as they get closer and closer and closer, they start to realize they're not stars. That's another city.
And
when they land on the surface of that city, that's when my mind just fully exploded. And I could not believe that this movie existed, and I'm so happy it does.
Yeah,
because this is like great science fiction storytelling, and you just don't see that enough in the world of animation, I don't think.
Yeah, it's definitely a sci-fi love story comedy.
Yeah, oh my gosh, this movie's amazing. So that was another just mind-blowing moment, and I think this movie's filled with them, and they kind of keep flipping the horizon, telling you more and more story, revealing it bit by bit until the very end when you're just like, what in the world? How can I have had everything I thought I knew up to this point be completely flipped again?
Yeah,
it's so good.
It's ridiculously crazy. And it's got a love story.
It does. It does.
One of the first times that Patema and AG meet, I'm like, well, here it is.
Yeah.
Right here.
Yeah, it hooked Josh Kane real quick.
Oh, yeah.
Yeah, and when she reaches out to grab his hand and he kind of walks over there slow and then grabs her hand and has a little cheek blush like you mentioned, I was like, this is where you got hooked right here.
Yeah.
It's hilarious.
Yeah, and this movie has a lot of really good funny moments. Like, probably my favorite moment in the film is when they're playing this dramatic music.
The first,
AG has to go to school because, if he's absent, they're gonna, bad things will happen.
Right.
So he has to go to school, so he has to leave Patema alone for the first time. And he promises to come back, and she's like, okay, dramatic music. She's like, you do promise to come back, and music just stops. Just like grounds, it's like, stop. It's like, yeah, I'll come back. She's like, okay.
And then the music swells again.
She's like, really? You really have to come back? And she's like, yeah, I got it. I'm going to come back.
Music cuts out again.
Music cuts back. It starts for another second. It's like, boom. Oh, and I'm hungry too. So can you bring some food? He's like, my gosh.
It's really a really funny device to use the music as the comedy there because the music, it's almost like the music is saying, oh, you interrupted me, and just stopping.
Can you imagine that happened like in a Disney movie? Well, they kind of did it a little bit, like in Spaceballs. Like when the princess is coming down the. I said Disney.
I couldn't think
of Disney because Spaceballs is better. So
okay, keep going.
Where Princess Vespa's walking down the aisle when she's about to get married to Prince Valium. And they're like, bum, 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 bum. And she's like, but Daddy. And it's like, like all the music just stops again. Yeah, kind of like with that.
Kind of, but more punchy and dramatic in this case.
Just like,
I thought it was really good. So, I'm dying to talk about the look of this movie.
Yes.
Let's talk about this artwork. Wow. This movie is spectacular. It's so beautiful. They really leverage the use of focus and blurriness and lens flare and like real like camera work
like
kind of
movie.
Or filmography or not what's the word I'm looking for, cinematography effects in this animated film, and it gives you such a clear understanding of atmospheric things that are going on. There's that one scene where she shines her light up through that silo and you see it glinting off of all the dust that's floating up through that silo. Just spectacularly done. And the design work of all the sets and all the textures, and when you're on AG's level, it's all very clean and manicured and programmed and stark. And then when you're in her world, there's a lot of gritty, there's rust and actual aging on things and stains, and there's some crumbling that's going on, and it feels like a more, I guess, rustic environment. And the things that they do with the clouds and just the sky and the sun and the stars, quote unquote stars, everything about it was just so well thought out, and they really just put a lot of attention into making this a believable world. And I always appreciate that. I've talked about that a number of times on the podcast, where if I feel like people actually exist in this space, they've done their job.
Yeah.
I feel like time has passed in this space. It's believable. They've lived and died in this, scene that we're seeing, and man, they just killed it with that. And then we get to the characters, and I think the characters fit seamlessly into this movie. And I feel like they were all created with a unified look so that they all felt like they belonged in the same story.
All of the kids in AG's world, like if you look at them, they've all got, the hair is perfectly manicured.
Yeah, like the little school haircut.
They're little soldiers pretty much.
Yeah.
And all of the girls, like if you notice again, like all have like shoulder length hair. None of it goes below their shoulders.
Exactly.
It's all like close crop, like military grade.
Yeah.
And when we go to Patema's people, they're just like, whatever.
Yeah, they got all kinds of different hair, and facial hair and things like that.
Yeah. This is another thing. There's only, well, I guess there's only 3 grown-up people that we see in.
We
and, like,
see
none of them have
a
any
lot of
sort
the grown-up people, but there are
like
only 3 or 4 that ever actually speak and have a role in the movie. So you got the leader and his right-hand man in AG's world. What's it called again? Iga. And then you got the elder, and isn't there another adult that we hear from? I guess the boy that likes her.
Or Porta.
Yeah,
not the car.
He's not really an adult. I don't know. Anyway, there's
really not any.
It's really a small cast. Like there are people.
Lagos.
There are people around that are doing things around them, but the cast itself that the story takes place around is very small, and I love that because you get a lot of character development, and I think that visually they tell a lot of the story. You get so much of that by the things that AG has to wear, and you get a lot of the story from the things that Patema and her kinfolk wear in their environment, and man, they just nailed it. The color palette, the lighting, the design, the character.
The drawings of, like, especially the underground. That place looks so cool. It looks it's a lived-in place that's been lived in for generations and generations. When we go to, like, Iga and we see, like, it's all stone.
Yeah. It looks like tenement housing, but like in a modern kind of concrete design.
Yeah, and it's also kind of like I said, going back, it's very like communist Russia.
It does seem like it's
because there's those signs that it's like you work good, you eat good, pretty much. It's like you better work hard and like you can only. It also reminded me a little bit of Starship Troopers.
Yeah.
Because the whole thing was like the only way to become a citizen is if you enlist in the army, and they're like, do you want to become a citizen? Just because you go to school here doesn't mean you're automatically going to become a citizen. So it's very like, ooh. So what happens if you're not a citizen?
Piped in audio propaganda going on. It was very well told and set up to give you a clear understanding of the differences between those two worlds. Now, I want to talk about one thing with the way that they animated the characters.
Yeah, some of the characters.
Were you not?
Well, some of the characters.
I was going for something else, but
some of the characters are a little rough. There are some scenes, like if we move too fast, there's definitely limitations. But
yeah, I can see some of that.
Really, there's not a whole lot of problem. There's really only very minor scenes that actually happens, but it's not anything that it's going to horribly detract from the movie.
Right.
It's so few and far between that, I've seen it just because I've seen it multiple times, so I know it's there.
Yeah.
But, I mean, watching it did you see any of that?
I didn't really pick up on any of that specifically. I feel like some of the characters might not have been as detailed as the 2 or 3 very main characters, but I didn't necessarily have a problem with that because you're always keyed in on the main 1 or 2 characters the whole time. Even if there are other people around, because of the situation they're in where they're always having to grip onto each other so that one or the other doesn't fall off into oblivion, your eyes are just locked on them just to make sure that they're okay the whole time because you feel like you want to hold on to them too. And they do a great job of, really pulling that emotion out of you. And that's kind of what I wanted to talk about. The animation involved in making that convincing. And I was convinced from the first moment to the last moment that gravity was pulling people in opposite directions. And one of the very, very basic things that you have to do in animation, one of the fundamental skills is what they call squash and stretch. And it's the idea that when you take a step, your form kind of squashes a little. And then when you step up, it stretches. So like you start with a very basic of like a bouncing ball. When it hits the ground, it flattens a little. And then when it boings up, it stretches out and becomes tall. But if you just had a perfect circle hit the ground and bounce up, it's not convincing that it's actually real and hitting the surface and bouncing up. So you have to have some squash and some stretch. Mm-hmm. And that's typical of, all good animation. They have some sort of element of that in it, and it makes it real. It makes it feel like it's rooted to the ground, that gravity's acting on it, and that there's weight to the actual character. And that's one of the things that Disney really pioneered is that kind of technique. But then to have characters that are basically only being stretched, there's no squash because they're hanging, and juxtaposed with a character grounded by gravity, that was just so fascinating to see how they animated that. And they did it so convincingly. And the way that they had, whoever was upside down from where they were, if they weren't standing on the ceiling, if they were holding on to the other character, the way that their legs dangled, the way that anything loose on them dangled, it was magical the way they did that. And I never for 1 second saw even a blink of a moment where it wasn't totally convincing, and that impressed the heck out of me. I felt like they were hanging on for dear life the whole time, and man, I feel like I gripped that pillow that's on your couch the whole time just to kind of hold on to the characters in some way, and it really reached out and grabbed me, and man, they did a great job with that.
I would love for them to make a second movie, just because there is a part at the very end where the elder, he finds that piece of paper that's tucked in Agie's dad's journal.
Mm-hmm, with the codes on it?
It's got codes, and it's got a little longitude and latitude little bit on there.
Yeah.
So it's like they're setting something up for a continuation. And we also have, there's a character that's who's in the movie who's barely explained. And she doesn't really have that much of a part. It's like that girl that's in Agie's class.
Oh, yeah.
She speaks up once. There's, only a couple kids that, talk. But she speaks up in class, kind of on Agie's behalf.
Right.
It's it doesn't say anywhere that we can't look. Because, the whole point of the whole... Which is actually kind of, if you think about it, kind of clever. The Agie's people, everyone, they're taught to don't look at the sky, look at the ground.
Right.
Only look at the ground. But technically, since they are flipped, they're always looking at the sky.
Yeah, that's true.
So it's a little bit of...
They don't know it, but
they don't know it, but they're actually all looking up the whole time.
Is she the one that speaks to him on the moving sidewalk that
he's
you can't hear?
He's completely oblivious because he just lost Patema.
Okay.
And she talks to him, and then she's also the first girl who's Agie didn't really... It's weird that he would have an accident when they're on the little conveyor belt on the school, and the kid behind her is don't look up, you keep looking at the ground. And then she sees the thing and runs off.
Yeah.
And it's you could have been something, but they just never really did anything with her character. That's why I'm if they did a sequel,
she could fall in love with the
Porta?
other guy.
He needs something. Poor Porta.
Yeah, no, I think it'd be great to do a sequel for this, because you could have them address the problem of that original accident, and maybe they find the solution to it.
Yeah, maybe that code
was
a solution.
And then they can find some sort of way to unify themselves, because I think an undercurrent of this movie is just basic prejudice of these people are different. They're completely opposite of us, so we villainize them. We are afraid of them. We call them evil, but we don't even understand them, and it takes these two kids that meet and fall instantly in love. It's kind of like Romeo and Juliet, they're star-crossed lovers from houses divided or whatever it is, and
literally star-crossed.
They meet and they're just oh yeah, you're awesome, and they're the ones that help open the eyes of the people around them. When, like you said, Agie tells everybody, try and see it from her perspective. She's vulnerable. She's hanging on for dear life here. I mean, come on. And it'd be really cool to see them, play out and have a truly happy ending for everybody.
Yeah.
I think that'd be really neat.
Because I mean, this was a good this was a happy ending.
It was a happy ending for the principal players. Absolutely.
I would like to see them have a right side up kiss, because they had that Spider-Man kiss that they shared in the blimp that they don't show for whatever reason.
Yeah.
But it's implied, considering they're literally inches away from each other.
Mm-hmm.
And then if you look, you see her silhouette like lean forward.
Mm-hmm.
And you're like, they just kissed. Look at that.
And Josh Kane had an anime twinkle in his
Oh
eye.
yeah, it's like, the ship sailed. It's all gone now.
That's amazing. So, is there really anything notable about this movie that you did not like?
Like I said, the fact there's not a second one,
Mm-hmm.
that gives me more of the story, just because they fleshed that world out really, really well.
Yeah, I agree.
They leave it open for a sequel. The characters, you automatically, once you meet Eiji and
Mm-hmm.
figure out you spend 5 minutes with him, you figure him out.
Yeah.
You spend 5 minutes with Padma, you figure her out. Porta, he's kind of like, he likes her.
Right.
It's like that's his character. And like a redemption little bit for the
right-hand guy?
the right hand guy, yeah. Because
Does he even get a name in this movie?
he probably has something. I don't know
Probably
what it
on
is.
the script, but I don't think he's actually named in the movie.
Probably not.
Yeah,
But I mean, because really, if we think about it, he's the one that shoots Eiji's
Mhm.
father.
Yeah.
Because he has that flashback,
Mhm.
and you see it through Eiji's father through his rifle scope.
Oof.
So it's like he killed Eiji's dad, so he kind of, it's like, okay, so I killed the dad on bad orders. So and then he ends up saving Eiji at the end.
Yeah.
So there is redemption for a character in this movie. So it's all around, it's a really good movie.
Yeah,
the
I
only
agree.
problem is that there's no second movie, no follow-up.
And that's high praise for a movie. If that's the only thing you really criticize is that you want more of it, that's pretty high praise. But the one thing I did want to mention also is the music. Now, it probably didn't make much of an impact on you, except for that one moment where they clearly made a point of bringing the music in for comedy.
This is one of the movies that, since I've seen it so many times, I do actually listen to
Yeah.
the music.
It's
There's
so
a lot
cool.
of boom music in this.
Yeah, there really is, and I feel like it's all very much like synthesizer
Mhm.
type music, and it all has that sort of cool lounge, electronic, sort of techno sound to it. It almost sounds both futuristic and retro at the same time,
Mhm.
and I really enjoyed that because that way, since we don't really have a clear, definite knowledge of when this takes place,
Yeah.
it kind of leaves it open-ended. And I like that they left it, for the most part, as kind of a subtle wash on the scenes instead of, a bold player in and of itself. It was kind of just textural in most cases. Like you said, there are some climactic points where it comes in with a boom, but a lot of it was just kind of
whenever they do a lot
cool.
of those pan out shots,
Mhm.
they like intensify that music.
Yeah, I thought they did a great job with it. It reminded me of really no other animated movie that I've seen, and I really appreciated that. So I thought the music was another positive.
Yeah.
So, who would you recommend this movie for?
Everybody needs to see it. If you're an anime fan, see this movie. If you're not an anime fan, because you're not really an anime fan.
I'm not an anime series fan.
Yeah.
I love anime. I love
Like a little
feature
self-contained
films.
little...
Feature films from Japan I love. And, I really enjoy getting the chance to watch. Like I said earlier, I've been looking forward to this one really for most of October, and definitely all of this week, because I already knew what we were going to watch in October, and I'd seen all those movies. This is the first movie in 6 weeks that is a brand new one for me.
Yeah.
So, man, I've been anticipating it, and I'm so glad that it delivered. But I love feature animation from anywhere. I have a hard time getting invested in series because I don't personally have a lot of time to devote to them.
Yeah.
And anime in particular has a tendency
Especially
to
when
have
you've got like 5 seasons.
hundreds of episodes. I mean, it's ridiculous. So I just, it's just too much. I just don't have the time for it. So that's why I prefer feature. But I would say the only people I wouldn't necessarily recommend this for, and it's just because of pacing and concept, is kids. I mean, I don't know that kids will really get it. And the pacing of it is very pensive, and there's a few scenes that are on a real slow simmer, and I really enjoyed it. I loved those moments, but I think kids would be bored with it. There's not a punchy, funny character. There's not a lot of, upbeat music in it. And so unless you've got like some super serious, brooding little kid that wants to just sit and think.
If your kid has watched The Last Starfighter, this movie may like this movie. Because there's a lot of slow parts in The Last Starfighter.
Yeah, it's
like
a good
if
movie,
your kid really likes, sci-fi.
Yeah, it's a real
sci-fi. It's a real
movie,
sci-fi. Yeah.
But I agree with you otherwise. I think this movie is aces, and I would tell anybody I met to watch it because it is a phenomenal work of art. I really, really enjoyed this one.
Plus, the Blu-ray case is clear. Very cool.
I guess that's a positive.
It's a plus when you buy it. It's a plus.
Okay, cool.
So, Gavin,
you wanna rate it?
Yeah. So, Gavin, I always go first.
Not always.
We've basically made me go first the last 14 times that we've done it.
14 times.
So
I'll go first. I ain't scared.
No, I want to go first.
Okay.
No, we'll go first. So, out of your Jim Crickets,
yep.
What would you give this movie?
I am going to think about this one.
You want me to go first?
Basically all night and day for the next several days, and my score may change. And the reason that I'm not going to give it a 5 right now
I was really hoping.
Is because I want to think about it. I really want to weigh it against, because I'm very selective with my 5s. But I am ready to slap 4.5 stars on this right out of the gun.
Nice.
4.5, Jiminy Crickets. This movie is great. Thank you, Josh Kane, for showing it to me.
No problem. I'm going to give this 5 Dipper Pines out of 5.
I figured you would. And I may upgrade it. I just want to think about it and really mull it over and weigh it against my other films. But, man, so good.
It's probably the best $15 I've ever spent.
Yeah, bang for your buck right there. Really good.
I've probably watched this like 4 or 5. I know I watched this with Hannah like 2 or 3 months ago.
Mm-hmm.
So when we were like, when you said, hey, I would like to do like an anime movie, it's like, done. Got it. Sci-fi, I know you'll like it. Boom, there we go.
Well, it makes me excited to show you Metropolis, because I know you've been excited to see that one. And there are some very similar things about it that, as I watched this movie, I was like, this reminds me a little of Metropolis. So I'm really excited for you to see that one.
And you've got it on mini disc.
On mini disc?
Yeah. Isn't that your DVD thing has it on DVD, and it's also on mini disc.
Oh my gosh, I forgot about that.
We should watch it on mini disc, not on a DVD player.
Isn't it like condensed and lower
awful.
resolution? Yeah, let's not do that.
Okay, so we're ready to...
Let's do some top
After
5
that
action.
awesome movie, let's go into a top 5.
Let's rank some top 5 people.
Alrighty.
And now, for another top 5.
Okay, you ready to do top 5?
I say we go into it.
I'm ready.
So this week we decided to do... This was really fun for me. We decided to do top voice actors in animation.
This was a real challenge for me because, watching...
You don't watch anime or series.
Well, no, but I mean, there are voice actors in every single animated movie, basically.
Yeah.
And it's tougher because, like you said, with Disney films, you don't really necessarily get familiar with a lot of the people who do the acting unless they're known actors already.
Yeah, like, spoiler warning for this, I put no one from, like, any sort of Disney movies or anything on here, or any anime, like, really any animated, like, movie people on here at all.
Josh, I don't think that will come as a shock to anybody who's listening.
Because it's like, you have, like, they're basically one and done in movies.
In some cases. The people I've got, I think I've only got, 2 out of my 5, as far as I know, are one and done.
Like Jonathan Taylor Thomas, I thought he was a great young Simba. He's like in half a movie. Matthew Broderick, really good older Simba. He's in Lion King 2, Lion King a half, and then a couple episodes of Timon and Pumbaa, and that's it.
Yeah, but let's be honest. James Earl Jones and Jeremy Irons are the real
Is
voices.
Jeremy Irons in any other Disney anything?
I don't care. He's Scar.
He's in
and
Aragon.
He's
Was that Disney?
No, I don't think so. I don't know who made that movie.
I think that was Disney. I want to say it was like Disney Hyperion.
Really?
I think so.
I didn't watch
Hyperion
it. I don't know.
did the books.
I know Hyperion did the books.
Yeah, so it was Disney. I think it was Disney.
Interesting.
Something no one cares because it was Aragon and it was awful.
All right.
So I guess I get to start it off because I went for 20 minutes last week.
Are you going to contain yourself this time? Or do we have another 2 pages of honorable mentions?
Oh, we could have had 2 pages of honorable mentions.
I bet we could have.
But I was a good boy this week.
Okay.
So, for my number 5, starting off with an anime voice actress, Brittany Karbowski.
Brittany.
Yeah.
I don't know Brittany.
Yeah, no. I should have had you listen to all of my people. But she's she's really good. She usually plays really like a tomboy character, kind of that sassy character who's kind of like in your face a lot.
All right.
Like for instance, she plays Black Star in Soul Eater. Which you've never seen Soul Eater. That was kind of a.
But I'm glad you pointed at me when you said it.
Yeah. She plays. She also plays little like Black Star's a boy.
Oh,
so
okay.
she kind of plays, like, so she can do that tomboy, so she can do that little boy voice.
Famously the voice for Bart Simpson. What's her name? It's a woman that does Bart Simpson.
Same thing with Ash. Ash's voice actress.
I can't think of her name. Oh, really?
She's done a little boy for she did a little boy for 10 years.
Yeah.
Same thing with Tommy Pickles. Tommy Pickles' voice actor has a voice actress.
I don't know who Tommy Pickles is.
Rugrats.
I never watched Rugrats.
The little ball one, blue shirt, diaper.
Yeah, no, sorry.
Diaper, whatever.
No.
Yeah, she's also Alice in High School of the Dead. You don't know that. Makoto Misaka from A Certain Scientific Railgun and A Certain Magical Index. Don't know that one. She plays Yamada from Biga to HK, Yamada's First Time. That one, she gets a little bit randy.
Okay.
That's that's a fun one.
All right.
She's also Cal.
Are you going to be naming the entire filmography
not her whole
for all
entire
of your voice actors?
No, but she also plays Cal in Phantom Requiem of the Phantom, which is basically which is basically like the second season really is like almost a ripoff of The Professional.
Okay.
With I can't remember the French guy from
Jean Reno.
I was like, the French guy the French guy from Godzilla.
I don't remember him in that.
Yeah, because basically our main character in that one becomes Jean Reno, the professional, and he gets this little girl who has nowhere to go, who is Cal, and trains her to be a hitman and everything like that. So they basically rip off the professional. Even that little bit, remember when he tries to make her smile in that movie, and he has the little oven mitt pig, and he goes oink, 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 makes it talk? They have a little oven mitt pig, and it's like really, really good.
Rip off.
Fine.
So, that was 10 minutes long. Sit back, guys. This is going to be another long one, apparently.
I hate you, Gavin.
No, man. Have your fun. Go for it. All right. Is it my turn now, though?
Yeah.
Okay. No, you're fine, dude. Number 5 for me, and I'm probably going to just destroy this name, but I'm going to give it my best. Makoto Iwamatsu. Do you know who that is?
No.
Well, he basically played about 1,000 different Korean characters in the show MASH, which I know you love. So anytime the guy came with his cart peddling wares, that was him. Any guy that came and offered them girls for the night, that was him.
There were a lot of Koreans in MASH.
Yeah, and they were reused over and over and over in a bunch of different roles.
Not Rosie.
He did. Oh yeah, Rosie was cool. But he did a bunch of those roles. But what I'm nominating him here for is one of my favorite all-time villains from Samurai Jack. He's the voice of Aku.
Oh, that means he's also the voice of General Iroh in Avatar: The Last Airbender.
That's correct. Okay. You got it. Yeah.
I couldn't remember his first name.
Yeah, his voice work. Yeah. His voice work as Aku is stupendous. I love that he brings such fury and comedy to it. I think he's phenomenal. He's really good. He's got that great voice that's so recognizable, and yeah, he's my number 5.
Nice. I like that pick. I like
Thanks.
that pick. I
appreciate
completely
it.
forgot about him, and it sucks because I'm watching Avatar.
I know.
And I completely forgot about him.
I didn't know he was in Avatar, and I saw it when I was looking up my list. I was like, oh, here's a little treat for Josh.
My number 4. God, I'm gonna butcher his name. I think it's Will Friedle. Friedle.
Sure.
He was Eric in.
The Little Mermaid?
No.
Oh.
I hate you so much. He was in. He was Eric in Boy Meets World. Corey's brother.
Oh, yeah.
I don't know how to pronounce his name, but yeah, he's also plays Terry McGinnis in Batman Beyond.
Oh, okay.
He is of course Ron Stoppable in Kim Possible.
Never seen that.
One of my oh God, you're pointless. He's okay. Remember when I told you that they redid the Thundercats and kind of gave it like an anime-esque?
Yeah.
He was Lion-O.
Okay.
And he was a really, really good Lion-O.
Nice.
And I think he also plays Deadpool and Ultimate
Is that all he's doing now? Is voice acting?
Yeah,
Not to demean voice acting in any way, but I'm just saying because I haven't seen him in any films or
I
TV
haven't seen him
shows.
in any films either.
Okay.
Not for a while at least. But yeah, I mean.
I'm trying to remember what his voice sounds like.
Plays Deadpool.
Yeah, I haven't seen any of those things you
right.
mentioned, so interesting.
Man.
Interesting.
All my people
That's a good
again.
pick.
He even does Disney things.
Well, I know, but I haven't seen Disney is a huge universe unto itself. I haven't seen everything. You haven't seen everything. You've seen more than I have, but you haven't seen everything.
It's like, don't insult me.
All right, back to me.
Yes.
All right, my number 4 is an actor called Terry Thomas. He's an English comedian, and for Disney fans, he's most famous for his role as Sir Hiss in Robin Hood.
He's also Winnie the Pooh.
No, that's a different actor.
You sure?
Yeah, I'm sure. It's very similar,
Okay.
and a lot of his Sir Hiss was basically inspired by Kaa from Jungle Book, and that is the same
that's what I
person
meant. I'm
that
sorry.
did Winnie
Yeah,
the Pooh.
Kaa. My bad.
Kaa is the same
Sorry,
person. Yeah.
it's the same character.
I don't recall that
because
guy's
it's the
name,
same
but
movie.
I adore his performance in Robin Hood. I think he's one of the best sidekicks in any movie, and he's hilarious. I really like what he does there, so that's my pick for number 4.
Nice.
Yeah.
For whatever reason, I thought he plays Wallace in Wallace and Gromit.
Nope.
That'll probably come later.
Actually, the actor that plays Wallace, that's just his voice. And he's in several different British television shows. And
Do you know his name?
I don't remember it right now, but I was watching one time, and I didn't know who it was. But this guy comes into the room, and he begins talking, and I just about fell over. I was like, that's Wallace! Oh, my God.
Were you watching Coupling?
And I looked at... No, I wasn't coupling. And I looked it up, and sure enough, it was the guy that does Wallace. And it's just his voice. It's got a very unique voice.
Wasn't Gavin and Stacey?
No. It was an older show from like the 80s or 70s. Okay. Yeah, no, it's not something from now. Or those shows aren't from now, but you know what I mean.
Yeah. My number 3, we're going to sit back again.
Uh-oh.
We're going to go Brina Palencia. I'm not 1,000% sure that's how you pronounce her name.
Mm-hmm.
But she is one of my favorite female voice actresses of all time.
Wow.
She does little boy characters, but she can also flip that and be a female character. I mean, that seems weird to say, but she can do little boy and then completely transition that into, like older boy, and then she can also be beautiful fair maiden.
Okay.
The whole entire time. She's great. Like she plays CL Phantomheim in Black Butler. I think Charlie was watching that.
I have seen a little bit of that.
But she doesn't watch dubs.
I don't know.
But she does
true.
an English accent the whole time.
Oh,
and it's
nice.
Fantastic.
Isn't it supposed to be English?
Yeah, it's all England.
Yeah,
They're
okay.
in England.
That's what I thought.
Which I'm like, if you don't get any of the accents if you watch it in Japanese, that's why you have to watch the Funimation dub when they're all English and they all
Although,
do
could they be
accents.
doing English accents in Japanese and we just can't tell?
I don't know how you can tell that.
Well, surely they put on accents when they do TV shows and movies in Japan, right?
But you
like
have to
we
say,
do.
But you have to say it in English, though. You know what I mean? Because like it's an English accent. Like we can do. I mean, it's easy for us to do it because it's an English accent.
Because
you have to say it in English.
Okay,
though.
but okay, let's use French as an example.
Yeah.
So we put on a French accent based on when we hear native French speakers speak English.
Speak English, yeah.
So when they hear somebody a French speaker goes to Japan and learns Japanese and speaks Japanese, they must speak it with some sort of a French accent in most cases.
Yeah.
So what I'm asking is, I feel like they must put on their own accents.
I'm sure
so
there
maybe
are.
they
I've
do, and you just can't tell.
Yeah.
It's such a different sounding language with such a different cadence and rhythm to it that I think it'd be very hard for us to identify if they even were.
Because like I've watched Hatalia in Japanese, and you really can't tell. I mean, there's the different.
Is that the one with the
voices.
different countries?
That's the different countries.
Okay.
But you can't like. I couldn't differentiate.
Maybe that's
any
not
accents.
a thing that they do. I don't know.
Maybe. But if you watch the Funimation dub, they make it super bad. Like it's like really bad.
Yeah, I've heard.
But yeah, she's also Chopper in One Piece. In the new like the rebuilds of Evangelion, where they're just putting the whole entire series and making it into a movie, she plays Rei.
Which one's Rei?
Ayaname, the
It's been too long since I've seen
light
that.
blue-haired one.
Oh, okay.
The one that Shinji likes before he, gets with Asuka.
Yeah.
Which is the way it should be forever and always. She actually does a little bit of. They all kind of do, live action stuff. But she was in this show that got canceled on the CW called Star-Crossed. She was also in an episode of The Walking Dead. She got eaten.
I'm not surprised.
Yeah, all they found was her leg.
If you say somebody was on an episode of a show like that,
it's like she was on an episode.
They
of
did.
Walking Dead. Yeah. She had that episode with her when the penguin was on there, but you don't know the penguin.
Are you? Yeah.
Sean
no.
Petrie, I forget.
No, I don't watch that
What's
show.
your number 3, Gavin?
All right, my number 3 is the guy who's really making a name for himself in this industry over the last several years.
Tom Hanks.
No, Alan Tudyk.
Okay.
Because that guy is doing everything.
Everything
I
under
mean,
the sun.
he did King Candy. So he goes from King Candy, and then he in
insert
Wreck-It
Liam
Ralph. Yeah,
doing
insert.
King Candy
He does a really
now.
good King Candy. It's really good. And then he goes from that to doing Alistair Cray in Big Hero 6, which is totally different. And now in Moana, he's doing the chicken. He's doing Hey Hey.
He's also in Zootopia.
He's in Zootopia. I mean, he's in a million other movies, but
Star
I think
vs.
just
the Forces
those
of
3
Evil.
show such an incredible breadth of voice work, and I just think he was Duke Weaselton in Zootopia. No, he was the Duke of Weselton in Frozen. He was Duke Weaselton in Zootopia, and he sounded like Steve Buscemi. Remember, when that movie ended, we thought it was Steve Buscemi.
Yeah,
we were like, I didn't know.
Alan Tudyk, you're like,
yeah.
What?
And I don't know if he was trying to sound like him or not, but he did to us. But if you don't know he's in a movie and he does a voice, you don't know that it's him. Like he is truly transforming his voice and becoming different characters, and it's incredible. Like he's super talented.
His voice acting is like a leaf on the wind. You just have to watch how it soars.
Yeah. To me, on my list, he's actually the second most talented, even though I don't have him in the 2 spot. He's supremely talented.
That
He's
went right
good.
over your head, didn't it?
I didn't even hear what you said.
He's a leaf on the wind. Watch how he soars.
Yeah, I don't know that.
One of Wash's lines from Serenity, like he says that right before he gets,
I'll be honest, I thought Serenity was pretty weak. I love Firefly, but I didn't really care for
My
Serenity.
number 2, because I'm done with you now. My number 2 is going to be Joshua Seth.
Joshua Seth. And what 100 roles has he done?
The only one I wrote down was the only one that
Yes!
matters. The only one that matters to me is he plays Tai Kamiya in Digimon. He's one of the. He's probably the first voice actor that I actually went and learned his name.
Really?
Just because, I grew up with him, watching him on Digimon, and in the movie and everything like that. I didn't care or anything about voice actors until I just happened to watch the credits in the Digimon movie. I'm like, oh, his name's Josh. That's cool.
Nice.
So it was like Joshua Seth. So he's like one of the only ones that I knew for a long time. I was like, oh yeah, Joshua Seth plays a Tai in Digimon. You know, in case that ever pops up on Jeopardy, I'll know it.
Just in case.
Just in case.
But even though if it does, it doesn't matter unless you're on Jeopardy.
Exactly.
You gonna get on Jeopardy?
I mean, if they have like an anime and cartoon Jeopardy, yeah, sure, I'll go.
You don't know anything else?
Call Alex Trebek. I know a little bit of history.
Okay.
I know how to cook.
Yeah, you do know cooking.
I know how to BS my way through pretty much anything. So
yeah,
I can pretend. I can argue.
Oh, pretenders always win on Jeopardy.
Yeah, I mean, that's usually what happens.
All right, my turn. Number 2. The late great Phil Harris. Phil Harris is famous for playing Baloo the Bear, Thomas O'Malley from The Aristocrats, and Little John from Robin Hood. Now, he's not like Alan Tudyk in that he doesn't put on different voices.
I know, he sounds like John Wayne.
He does sound a little like John Wayne. You're right, yeah. But he sounds like Phil Harris and everything. But I love what he brings to each of those roles. He brings something different to each of them. And that's just because he's a good actor. And, he's just got that deep, rich voice that I love. And those 3 characters I love. And I don't know, he is one of the superstars of Disney voice actors. He's so iconic and unmistakable. So, yeah. Phil Harris. That's
a really good pick.
Thank you.
I like that one. I always thought he was John Wayne, when I was growing up.
Oh, really?
I was like, oh, John Wayne. It's like, that's totally not John Wayne.
That's amazing.
I only have 2 honorable mentions.
Okay.
My first one is Jack DeCina. Butchering names. He plays Sokka in Avatar: The Last Airbender.
Okay.
The only reason he made the list is he did a lot of improv when he was recording that stuff. He's a comedian. So he did a lot of improv.
Kind of like the genie in Aladdin?
Yeah, like with Sokka's roles.
Okay.
Like a lot of his lines, they're improv. And he just hits it out of the park. Like, if they had really anybody else on there, probably would... I mean, it would have been good, but probably wouldn't have been as good because the writing for him was phenomenal. But his line delivery, the little stuff he adds, brought that character to life.
Yeah.
So, and he really hasn't done a lot of voice acting. He's done some stuff here and there. I think he still does stuff for I think either Nickelodeon or the Disney Channel. He still kind of does stuff for, but just when his portrayal of Sokka in the whole entire series is fantastic. Chris Hardwick also voices Sokka later on in
Seriously?
Legend of Korra. Yeah, it's like I saw that, I was like, Chris Hardwick, really?
Wow.
Good for you, Mr. Talking Dead.
I didn't know he did anything like that. Interesting.
My other honorable mention, she almost made my list. She was this close to making my list.
Josh just held up 2 fingers half an inch apart.
This close now.
Ooh, a millimeter apart.
It's so close that they're technically touching.
Wow.
Is Cassandra Lee Morris.
Mm-hmm.
And we actually just listened to her. She's the one that plays Patema.
Oh, yeah. She did a great job.
Yeah. Let's see. I've got some of her stuff. Sit down.
Go ahead.
She plays Sugu and Lifa in Sword Art Online.
Mm-hmm.
She also plays Taiga in Toradora. She's Atra in Gundam Iron Blooded Orphans, which is a Gundam.
Yeah, what?
Don't worry about it. And she plays Natsuki, who is one of the main heroines in that anime that I was telling you about that I watched last night, that Psychic School Wars.
Oh, okay.
And she is such a good actress. When she cries, it makes me sad inside.
Wow.
Like, she can cry so well that I'm just, it tears me inside. Because she makes it so believable. She does that whole thing, too, where she plays tomboys and stuff like Patema. She, kind of a little bit of a tomboy.
A little bit.
But, so she can give you that, I'm kind of angry, but then she can also be super duper sweet and, turn it on a dime. She's fantastic. I kind of wish I would have put her at least on my list, just because I really, really like her.
I'm sorry to say you've already chiseled these into a stone tablet, and there are no erasers in stone tablets.
It is in pen, so, unless I have one of those weird erasable pens.
Yeah.
That suck.
Those are weird. They really just tear up the paper.
They do.
All right, bring us your number one.
My number one. Would you like to hazard a wild guess at who my number one is?
It's your boy Johnny.
It's my boy Johnny Young Bosch.
Yeah.
Good old Adam from the Power Rangers.
Mm-hmm.
He's a Black Ranger. Pretty cool. Bash the Stampede. He's Kaneda in Akira. Did you ever watch Akira?
Yeah, I watched that a few
Kaneda.
Years ago. Yeah. Okay.
And
that may be one we should put on our list because it's so iconic.
Joshua Seth, my number 2 is Tetsuo.
Oh, nice.
Yeah. He also plays Izaya Orihara in Durahara. Durarara. It's just Just go with Dur. He also is Lelouch v Britannia in Code Geass, Lelouch and the Rebellion. But
I feel like your top fives are always tongue twisters, man.
Like, what do you mean?
Mine are like Phil Harris played Baloo. Yours are like crazy syllables that I've never heard. Bosch? Okay, yeah, and then you list his character and the things he did.
Lelouch v Britannia.
Like, oh my gosh, it's crazy.
Yeah, you know.
You're a complicated man, Josh Kane.
Well, dude, most of my characters are anime people, so they've got weird names.
Not weird, just foreign.
Well, some of them are made up. Like, who names their kid Lelouch?
I don't know.
It's like a French name, but he's like the king of Britain. It makes
French
no
people?
sense.
Okay.
He's like Jean-Luc Picard. It's like, is he French? No, he's from Detroit. But actually, he's from England. We don't know where he's from.
He's from space.
He's from space. No,
okay,
he's from Earth. He was born in that vineyard.
I had a hard time coming up with my list. I'm not really overly familiar with voice actors, and in the movies, even the movies that I love, like I don't know that I know who did Jiminy Cricket, but I don't know anybody else in Pinocchio, I don't think. And movies that I love, I don't necessarily know who did the voices. I just know that I love them. So this was a little bit trickier for me than it was for Josh, but I mean, I thought of people like Robin Williams as the genie, but that was just him being him and improvising most of the time, and so I didn't really feel like that was. And I don't know much about the skill of voice acting, but I thought that wasn't quite what I was going for with my list. And then I also thought of Jeremy Irons, because I think his performance as Scar is unbelievably good.
So good.
I just think he uses that deep, rich voice of his to be perfectly evil, and he gets like growls, and I really like what he does in that role. So those are my two honorable mentions, and my number one is what I would consider, at least in American animation, the king of all is Mel Blanc. The guy who did Bugs Bunny and Daffy and my favorite Looney Tunes character, Yosemite Sam. And, I mean, he did a million. He did Marvin the Martian. He did so many different characters. I mean, he's known as the man of 1,000 voices. And, the differences between the sounds of those characters is so broad. It's amazing that all those voices came out of one person. I mean, he did the Tasmanian Devil. And he did the Roadrunner, who just makes that weird little noise, I mean, he just did it all. And he really is a huge reason for the success of Looney Tunes in those golden years. And, I think he really is iconic. And to me, he kind of stands atop the heap. And just gave us so many things that I grew up with and love. I always watched the Looney Tunes. I didn't watch all of the iconic things that were on in my time, but I always watched the Looney Tunes, and I love those characters, and I love all their voices. And I found out as an adult that, oh my gosh, all these characters that I love, it's the same guy doing the voice. That's crazy to me and impressive. He's my number one.
Nice. I like it. It's pretty good. Before we go into our special announcement, your socks are on wrong.
Okay, so the socks that I'm wearing are little ankle socks, and they're interestingly, they're identically symmetrical, these pairs of socks that I bought, but they all have either an R or an L on them. Supposedly, you're supposed to put one on the right foot, one on the left foot, but they're identical. There is no shaping difference between the two socks. And in this case, I have them on opposite feet. Makes no difference.
My Strideline socks are like that too.
Mm-hmm.
But the only reason they do that is so, like, the design that's on them. Well, yours doesn't have one. Yours
these are no-show socks.
Yours don't matter. But mine are, like long socks. Like they're not really dress socks, but they're just long. So they have the design. So you want the design facing other people. You don't want them pointing at your other calf.
Like that.
That's on both sides.
Okay.
Yeah, these are my swag socks.
Yeah, so
dude.
that's the thing though. If it's a big design on the side, you can just look at the side.
Yeah. Yeah, I
Why
don't
do
know
you need the
I don't know why
L&R?
those are like that. That's
yeah,
weird.
these are weird. Anyway, fashion tips from Josh and Gavin.
Yeah, make sure you put your R socks on R and your L socks on L.
Yeah, or not. Do whatever you want with your socks. Let's talk about our special giveaway.
Yes, this is something that we did we did, something similar before.
Yeah.
But this time we're going to do it a little bit different.
A little bit different.
We've got some extra stuff this time.
Yeah, so we are giving away a prize package, and it's fairly epic. And really, guys, this is just our way of saying thanks. So it's going to be a Thanksgiving giveaway.
Get it?
And it's to say thanks to all of our listeners for listening and liking and subscribing and, of course, interacting with us, sending us your comments and having conversations with us on Instagram and Facebook and Twitter. And, just to give back to you guys for, continuing to stay on board with us and, interact with us. We wanted to do this giveaway. Okay, so this giveaway is going to happen on the Monday after Thanksgiving.
Yes.
So what we're going to be doing on that episode is we're going to be discussing a Disney classic, Beauty and the Beast. And so it's a Beauty and the Beast themed prize package. And it will include the following: a Blu-ray Beauty and the Beast 25th Anniversary Edition.
That's the Blu-ray DVD combo pack too, right?
It sure is.
So in case you don't have a Blu-ray player,
it also has the DVD, and I'm sure it comes with the digital
It
Play
also
Anywhere
probably comes
code.
with the VHS. If you're Liam and Brittany.
Yeah. And it will also include a Lumiere Funko Pop figure. Hooray. And it will also include a Cogsworth Tsum Tsum, the fluffy kind, not the plastic kind, the fluffy kind, which I like the best. And in addition to that, you'll get an Animation Station button.
Boom!
Hey.
Just drop it. We're done.
And
that's at least $17 right there.
Yeah,
the button.
At least, yeah. And then there will also be included another little surprise for you, which we'll reveal when we reveal the winner. So you're asking yourself, how do I get a chance to win this prize package?
So say I'm a listener, Gavin. How do I win this awesome prize pack?
Well, hi, listener. I'll tell you right now.
Don't call me listener. I have a name.
Basically, Josh, listener, we want you to. We're gonna put out a post specifically for this giveaway. We're gonna put it out on this today, the day that you're downloading this and listening to it. So Monday, the 7th. Monday the 7th. We're gonna put a post up on Instagram and Twitter. And your job to enter this giveaway is to be following us on one of those and to repost or retweet that post to your feed and hashtag it with hashtag ASP thanks. And if you do those things, so you repost our post, you hashtag it with that ASP thanks, and you're following us, that gets you a chance. If you do this on both Instagram and Twitter, I'll give you 2 chances. So that's how you enter, and you have until Black Friday, November 25th, to enter this giveaway. So we'll send out reminders on the next 2 episodes that follow this, and we want to get everybody, all of our listeners, new and old, involved. If you've won before, you can enter again. Just help us spread the word of the Animation Station, and as thanks for that, we're going to give you this amazing prize package.
It's shaping up to be a really good November.
Yeah.
Like what we're recording on Saturday and Sunday of next week.
Yeah, we got some special treats for you.
We got some really cool stuff. And then with this prize pack.
And with Moana coming out. We're going to do a cartoon cafe.
It's ridiculous.
This is going to be a fun, big month. I think we had a really great themed month in October that was, that was successful, and we had a good time doing it. But I think November is packed with events kind of for us. So it's going to be a fun month, and stay tuned all month long for more surprises.
Yep. I have something special that I kind of want to say real quick. Rooster Teeth. You're kind of familiar with Rooster Teeth. They do a thing every year where it's a charity gaming event called Extra Life. And they basically play video games and do all kinds of crazy stuff for 24 hours. So it's 8 a.m. Saturday the 12th through 8 a.m. Sunday the 13th. So they're going to be streaming for 24 hours, games, all that stuff. And all the money that they make is going towards charity. So it's going towards they play for a specific children's hospital. If you want to donate to them, you can donate. Again, all of it goes to the Children's Miracle Network. Right. What you can also do, like if you don't want to donate, because I think they do something for the Dale Children's Home in Austin. If you don't want to donate you can still donate to them, but you can actually choose a local hospital, like children's hospital in your area.
Oh, that's nice.
So like what I do is I go and I do $20 to. We've got the not the Shriners. What's the one here in Oklahoma City?
I don't know what it's called.
It's one of them. Yeah, there's like one of them that's on that list, so I click that one. Also, what they do on their website is they usually always have a poster, a special poster that you can only get for the 24 hours. It's exclusive. Like this one right here, this Achievement Hunter is the one that's like the X-Men. Yeah. That was their very first poster. Okay. And I've gotten all of them since they started doing those. But this year they're also doing something a little bit different. They're also doing a T-shirt. Nice. So if you don't want to go through the hassle of having to go in, do your credit card, having to choose a specific hospital that you want it to, you can buy a shirt, buy a poster. Posters are $10. Shirt this first time they're doing, they'll probably be like $15. You can buy that. You get some free. I mean, not some free. You get some cool stuff with your purchase. All of that goes towards one of their charities. The charities. Yeah, so that's cool. They don't make any money off of it, and I think for the last 2 years in a row, they've been the #1 contributor. Like I think last year it was like $780,000 that they donated. Wow. It's ridiculous, but cool. Everything goes to a good cause. I know I'm going to be watching the streams pretty much all of Saturday. Because, I mean, we're getting a new president on Tuesday, so who knows what's going to happen. Might as well get my fun stuff in now. So I'm basically going to watch that until we have to do some stuff a little bit later on in the evening. Sure. But, yeah, I'm going to be glued to my to my TV.
So, go support Rooster Teeth.
Yep.
Woohoo! The end.
Yeah, I didn't have anything to go with that. Okay. Well... Gavin, where can all the wonderful listeners find you if they want to keep in touch?
Well, they can find me on Instagram and Twitter at Gavin Otteson Art. What about you?
You can find me at Josh L. Kane on Twitter and Instagram.
And where can they find the Animation Station Podcast?
Find the Animation Station Podcast on Instagram at Animation Station Podcast. You can join the Facebook group. I think that's just Animation Station Podcast. You can go to our website, which is www.animationstationpodcast.com, so you kind of see the thing where it's just Animation Station Podcast.
Except, doesn't it change when it gets to Twitter?
And then when you go to Twitter, because you can't fit all that in there, it's just Animate Podcast.
Right. And then, of course, you can download and subscribe to our episodes on iTunes and Stitcher.
Correct. You can also, like, if you don't have a phone, for whatever reason, a smartphone.
Because you're weird?
You're weird. Or, you live in the boonies. Don't have any, cell reception.
Yeah,
you can go on to the website at animationstationpodcast.com, and you can actually listen to all of our episodes in the browser as well.
Nice. Excellent.
Okay, well...
that about wraps it up.
Yeah, I think we're ready to get out of here.
All right, watch for that post.
It's really, really hot right now.
Okay, let's cool you off, Josh.
And it's warm in here.
Thank you for listening to the Animation Station Podcast. Follow us on Instagram and Facebook at Animation Station Podcast. Follow us on Twitter at Animate Podcast. Subscribe to us on iTunes. And join the conversation at SecretSuperheroClub.com, where you can connect with our podcast friends, Cloud City Cast, Getting Into Comics, and Shaun of the Gathering.